Hello guys, welcome to today's daily Leetcode challenge. Today we'll be solving question 2125, number of laser beams in a bank. So this is a medium level question, and the description goes as follows. Anti-theft security devices are activated inside a bank. You're given a zero-indexed binary string array bank representing the floor plan of the bank, which is an m by n 2D matrix. Bank I represents the ith row, consisting of zeros and ones. 0 means the cell is empty, while 1 means that the cell has a security device. There is one laser beam between any two security devices if both conditions are met. Alright, so in my own words, we're given a list of strings, but we're asked for it to be represented as a 2D matrix. How does that work? Well, if an array of strings is interpreted as a 2D matrix, it's implied that the string itself that lives in each of the cells of the bank is asked to be represented as one of these dimensions of the 2D array. So if the strings are all the same size, then we really do have an m by n matrix where the m is the length of the bank list itself, and the n is the length of each of these strings inside of list. All right. The strings consist of either zeros or a combinations of zeros and ones because it's a binary string. And okay, then let's get back into the description. There is one laser beam between any two security devices if both conditions are met. The two devices are located on two different rows, R1 and R2, where R1 is less than R2. And for each row, I, there's no security devices in between. Okay. So what does that mean? The first means that R1 and R2 are, well, R1 is less than R2, so it just precedes it. Okay, that makes sense. And the second condition is that there are no security devices in between those two rows. So if there's a number of rows going from 0 to, let's say, 3, and there are security devices on the 0th row, and then there are security devices on the first row, then those laser beams will be activated in between those two rows. If there's another security device on the second row, then those security devices will only work with the security devices on the first row. And all of this is kind of hard to explain, but what if we just look at the description or at the example? We see that there's security devices on the 0th row that interact with the security devices on the second row because security devices aren't present in the first row, and then the security devices on the second and the third row are also interacting. And the number of, and I believe return the number of laser beams in the bank. So here we just have to figure out how many security devices are going to be interacting with each other, and how many rows those security devices will live. So in this case, it's pretty clear to me that the number of laser beams in between the 0th and the second row is just going to be the product of the number of laser devices in each of the rows. And it seems like that pattern applies to the following rows as well. So the number of laser beams in this portion is 3 times 2, which is 6. The number of laser beams in this portion is 2 times 1. And the overall amount of laser beams should be 8. Response seems to be like 8, and that probably applies everywhere else. Let's look at some of the constraints. M is the length of the bank floor, or the number of strings in the bank list, n is the number of each of the strings in the list. M is at least of 1 length, and n is 500. All right. Well, how do we get this? Let's apply this. Let's apply this method of iterating over the rows, starting and keeping track of what the previous and the current row device count is. I'm going to say that bank of 0 count 1s is going to be my previous. That's sort of me initializing it to some value, initial value. I'm going to have res be the number of laser beams and the number that I'm going to be returning. For I in range, let's go from 1 to length of bank. This is me claiming that I've already initialized the first prev, so now I'm just going to be needing the current. Current is going to be I count 1. Let's see, if count is equal to 0, or in other words, if not count, continue. What continue does is it skips the later portion of this loop, of the logic in the loop, and asks for I to be reinitialized to the next value. But if that's not the case, then I want to say res is plus equal to current times prev. This is the product of the current and the previous device count in the rows, and that should be it. Only thing I forgot to do is reinitialize prev equal to current, because once we've incremented the result, we have to reassign previous to the current row that we're exploring. Let's run this, see if this works. Int has no, why did I do that twice? Bank. Why did I say count? This should be current. Current count, I guess. I'm used to using these variable names that repeat over problems, and so the count made sense there. And okay, we're doing good. Beating 100%. So we can't get any better than this. Wow, this is actually probably the first time I've seen 100% beat rate. Alright, well, guys, I think the solution speaks for itself. It's very intuitive, very easy to read, and is applicable to other problems where there's a need to iterate over some sort of rows, keep track of what's being calculated in the previous portion of the row, and then interact that value with the current row. So prev count, cur count, increment some res, reassign prev. We're beating 100% of the solution, so cool, awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Oh, please like and subscribe.